Principle number 1, community requires unity. Number 2, it reacts with sympathy. Number 3, it responds like family. Number 4, and it reaches out in sincerity. And there's one last one, we'll do this quickly. Community reinforces humility. Notice the last word says, be courteous. But the word really is not translated very well. The word be courteous is a translation of a Greek term which has to do with humility. Courtesy comes from the fact that you humble yourself before someone and you don't lift yourself up. But the word really is about humility. In fact, the Message translates it this way: be sympathetic, be loving, be compassionate, be humble. And over in 1 Peter, just a few chapters over, in chapter 5 and verse 5, if you have your Bibles, you can turn over there. There's a little commentary on this, and this is what it says. Yes, all of you be submissive to one another and be clothed with humility. For God resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. And Phillips translates it this way: all of you should defer to one another and wear the overhaul of humility in serving one another. It's just so hard unless we're willing to submit ourselves to one another. Romans 15:2 says, let each of us please his neighbor for his good, leading to edification. 1 Corinthians 10:24 says, let no one seek his own, but each other's well-being. Philippians 2:4 says, let each of you look not only for his own interest, but also for the interests of others. So that's what community looks like. Are you getting a picture of it? It's unity, it's sympathy, it's family, it's sincerity, and it's humility. There's a story that I heard that illustrates all of these principles, and you listen for them all as we close. In Brooklyn, New York, there's a school that caters to mildly learning disabled children. The father of one of these children spoke at a fundraising banquet for the school. And after extolling the school on its dedicated staff, he cried out in the midst of his speech, where is the perfection in my son Shia? Everything God does is done in perfection, but my son cannot understand things as other children do. My son cannot remember facts and figures as other children do. Where is God's perfection? And the audience was shocked by this question and pained by the father's anguish. And after a period of silence, he gave the answer. He said, I believe that when God brings a child into this world like my son, that the perfection that he seeks is in the way people react to him. Then he told this story about his son Shia. He said one afternoon, Shia and his dad walked past the park where some boys were playing baseball. Shia asked, do you think they'll let me play? And his father knew that his son was not at all athletic or coordinated. Most boys would not want him on their team. Still, his father understood that if his son was chosen to play, it would give him a sense of belonging. So Shia's dad approached one of the boys on the field and asked if Shia could play. And the boy looked around for guidance from one of his teammates. Getting none, he took matters into his own hands and he said, we're losing by 6 runs. The game is in the 8th inning. If he wants to be on our team, we'll try to put him up to bat in the 9th. So Shia's father was ecstatic, and Shia smiled broadly. Shia was told to put on a glove and go out and play short center field. In the bottom of the 8th, Shia's team scored a few runs, but they were still behind by 3. In the bottom of the 9th, Shia's team scored again, and now the 2 outs and the bases loaded and the potential winning run on base, and Shia is up to bat. Would the team actually let Shia bat at this juncture and give away their chance to win the game? Surprisingly, Shia was given the bat, and everybody knew that it was impossible because he couldn't even hold the bat right, let alone swing it. However, as Shia stepped up to the plate, the pitcher moved a few steps closer to lob the ball in softly, so Shia could at least make contact. The first pitch came in, and Shia swung clumsily, and he missed. One of Shia's teammates came up to Shia, and together they held the bat and they faced the pitcher, together waiting for the next pitch, and the pitcher took a few steps closer and tossed the ball even more softly to Shia. As the pitch came in, Shia and his teammates swung the bat, and together they hit a slow ground ball to the pitcher. The pitcher picked the soft grounder up and could easily have thrown the ball to first. Shia would have been out. That would have ended the game. But instead, he took the ball and he threw it on a high arc to right field, far beyond the reach of the first baseman. Everyone started yelling, Shia, run to first. Well, he'd never run to first in his life. He scampered down the baseline wide-eyed and startled, and by the time he reached first base, the right fielder had the ball. He could have thrown the ball to the second baseman who would tag out Shia, who was still running, but instead, he threw the ball high and far over the third baseman's head, and everybody yelled, "Run to second, Shia, run to second." Shia ran toward second base as the runners ahead deliriously circled the bases toward home. As Shia reached second base, the opposing shortstop ran to him, turned him in the direction of third base, and shouted, "Run to third!" As Shia rounded third, the boys from both teams ran behind him screaming, "Shia, run to home, run to home!" Shia ran home, stepped on home plate, and all 18 boys lifted him up on their shoulders, made him the hero because he had just hit a grand slam and he won the game for the team. And that day, said his father, tears now rolling down his face, that day for one moment, those 18 boys reached their level of God's perfection. My friend, that's what the church is about. That's what community is about. It's about being on the same team. It's about helping those who need our help and cheering those who need to be cheered on. It's about lifting them on our shoulders when they can't walk by themselves. And how can we ever do that if we never touch each other and we come and sit in our straight pews and then go back to our isolated worlds?